unanswerable playoff question. Out of these two players, who is it more important to have their 3-point shooting progress back to the mean? Grant Williams or Derrick White? And let me give you a couple stats real quick. Over the last 30 games, or over the last month, Grant Williams is shooting 31% from three, and over the last 10 games, 25%. Derrick White, as we know, since he's come to the Celtics, has not been shooting the ball great from three, still shooting a shade under 26%. Derrick White, for his career, roughly about 34%. Grant Williams, as we've talked about a lot on this, this is the first year that he's really been kind of a three-point marksman, but shooting 41% on the year. If you have to choose one of them, which one is it more important that they progress to either their season mean in the case of Grant Williams or their career mean in the case of Derrick White?
Okay, so things to consider. Grant Williams' season is like historic for him, right? He's shooting like 43% from three, even with this downtick. So if he gets back to that level, that is such a surefire weapon where we started calling him Mr. Corner Office, and since we started calling him that, he hasn't hit a fucking three-pointer. But so on one end, I got to consider we have a guaranteed three-pointer anytime we kick it to Grant Williams in the corner. On the other hand, I got to consider the guy that's more likely to be in the closing five, which is Derrick White, and is clearly the more important player, right? Overall, he's the more important player. So because of that, even though Grant Williams getting back to shooting close to 45% from three would be really nice to have, I don't think it's necessarily going to be as available of a shot as Derrick White could be. And if Derrick White is able to develop his three-point shot back to his career averages, he's going to be so much more dynamic as a ball handler and as a decision maker. And I think it would be very dangerous if Derrick White got back up to 35%, and the league would not like that. I think the league would be okay with Grant Williams shooting 45%, because if you close out hard on him, he's not really getting that shot off. It's a very deliberate shot. I think maybe the reason why he's not shooting great of late is that he's rushing the shot a little bit. So I would have to say Derrick White.
With Rob Williams, I would say it's Derrick White. Without Rob Williams, I think it's Grant Williams. And I think it's for a lot of the things that we talked about before, is that, without that vertical spacing, they're going to be happy to pack the paint and just be like, all right, we're not going to give up like that easy of a two that would be available when Rob Williams is on the floor. And so I think Grant has to be kind of that knockdown guy. And to his credit, he's gotten good at, or gotten a lot better at when someone closes out on him, being able to drive the ball and either make another play for himself or keep the ball moving. Like, to his credit, he's gotten pretty good at that. But if people stop closing out on him, it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like, if they get that skill set becomes negligible. And so I think at least with Derrick White, obviously I would love for him I'd love for both of them to go back to shooting, the way Grant Williams has throughout the year and the way Derrick White has throughout his career. But I think with Derrick White, he's going to be, have the ball in his hands a little bit more to be able to create things off penetration. He gets into the lane, fairly well. His athleticism is not great. As you see him struggle to get some shots off at the rim at times. But I do think there's going to be other ways. Whereas for Grant, I think because of the role that he now has to play, and especially where without Rob, Derrick White's still going to play roughly the same amount of minutes with or without Rob. Mm-hmm. Without Rob, Grant now goes from maybe 18 minutes a game to maybe 25 minutes a game. And so that extra time that he's out there, whether he's shooting 3 or 4 threes normally, he probably needs to shoot 5 or 6 now. And they're going to be shots that he has to make for the defense to respect it, to actually give us the offense that we want to operate within without that vertical spacing.